And good evening, everybody, and welcome into the Kresge Gymnasium. Jim Funderburg along with Jim Bellamy tonight. And Jimmy, I guess it doesn't get much better than that. Monday night basketball here on the Britain Sports Network. And the neat thing about it is it's a good game, a rivalry game. Albion and Adrian, whenever the Bulldogs and the Brits get together, you generally have a basketball game or a football game or whatever heck. If they want to sit down and play a game of checkers, they're going to probably play about as ferocious a game of checkers as you're ever going to find. Yeah, they're only about, I think, 20-some, maybe 30-some miles top separating these two schools. So, I'm sure that a lot of the athletes on the floor tonight are very familiar with each other. I'm sure the coaches go and recruit at a lot of the same schools, or at least in the same school districts and counties. And so, that familiarity from maybe the junior high level to high school all the way to college, leads to sometimes some interesting ball games. And I think we're going to have an interesting ball game tonight. The records certainly do not, describe the rivalry in this case. Adrian's had kind of a tough season this year, and Albion was able to win the first time these two teams played. However, it was not an easy game, so you can see how, even though it's an old sports cliche, you say, you kind of can throw the records out the window. Well, we take a look at the standings right now to start our night off in the MIAA, and you can see as we're getting down to crunch time now in February that the Tryon Thunder still sitting on top at 8-1. Albion, after the win on Saturday, are at 7-2. Olivet at 6-3. Calvin at 5-4. Hope at 4-6. Kalamazoo and Alma both at 3-6, and then the Bulldogs, who come into the Kresge tonight at 0-9 in the conference, having lost 16 in a row. Yeah, it's been a tough season. There's no two ways about it. But you get to this point in the season, mathematically you've obviously been eliminated from postseason tournament contention, and so now you get to come in and play a game really with no pressure, and you get to play the role of spoiler from this point forward in the season. So again, we talked about the mileage proximity for these two schools and the familiarity with the athletes. I'm sure the Bulldogs would love nothing better than to be able to spoil the Britain's successful season so far and maybe try to knock them out of the 2 seed. Well, Coach Kyle Lindsay came into this basketball season with high hopes and opened the season actually 2-0. They knocked off Defiance College in Anderson. And then the last win that they had was all the way back on November 25th, another HCAC team when they beat the Earlham Quakers. So ironically, the only 3 wins that this team has all year long are 3 Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference teams. And they're really not the top teams in the conference either, as they are more the middle of the road to bottom of the pack type teams in that conference. No, in fact, the first 4 games they played this season, the first 3 were at home against Defiance, Anderson, and Manchester. They lost the latter of those 3 games 86-78. And then, as you said, that game against Earlham, the last victory on the docket, 62-54. They haven't really been blown out, so to speak, in too many games. They've hung tough with a lot of teams. They went to overtime with Heidelberg. They lost a 1-point game to Spalding during a holiday tournament, a 2-day holiday tournament. They lost handily to Thomas More, which there's certainly no shame in that. And they lost big to Trine, which, again, there's no shame in that either. The last game they had against Trine, 94-53, kind of the low watermark, so to speak, on the season for them in terms of margin of defeat. And again, at this point in the season, you really have no pressure, so you can really come in and play relaxed basketball. And, hopefully for those young men, I know they're working hard, hopefully they'll be able to play a relaxed game tonight. But again, this is a really good Britain's ball club under Coach May, and I look for them to come out early and come out strong. I agree, and you alluded to the first time these two got together over in Adrian. Really, it was a ball game that went back and forth. Neither team led by more than 8 points until the final minute of the game. Adrian went scoreless in the last 2:52 of that basketball game, but at that point in time, at the 2:52 mark, they were actually ahead 66-64, and the Brits hit some big free throws down the stretch. They shut out the Bulldogs down that last 2:52, and they won that ball game 76-66. In that ball game that day, James L. Davis had 19 for the Britons to lead In fact, they were led by Arshwan Parker with 24 and James L. Davis with 19. On the other side, it was Jeremy Kalanji, who was the leading scorer for the Bulldogs that night. He had 18, and Sam Colbert had 15. And a ball game that was 36-35 Britons at the half. And the Britons then outscored the Bulldogs by 9, 40-31 in the second half. And again, basically just throttled them defensively in that last basically 3 minutes of the basketball game, making this a 10-point game. So when you look at it at 76-66, you say, well, you know, the Brits might have been in control. When you look at the numbers, it really was a very tight ball game all the way through. Brits shot just at 40% for that day, 41% for Adrian. The Brits hit 32% of their shots from distance compared to 31% for Adrian. And from the free throw line where the game really was won, the Britons hit 88% from the free throw line, including their last 6 free throws in crunch time. And Adrian only hit 43%, 6 for 14. So if they would have taken care of business at the free throw line, that ball game would have come right down to the final buzzer.
Yeah, and you never know. You know, you start converting on those free throws to go through that scoreless stretch. The last 2 and change or 3 minutes, whatever it ended up being. You know, the whole complexity of the game changes on any one given possession, any one made basket, any one made free throw or an and one. So, you know, it's easy to say, well, they missed 8 free throws, lost by 10 points, could have been a 2-point game. They maybe still would have lost, but that's really not the case. You know, you convert a couple of those possessions, you know, you make some of those free throws, and everything changes as a result. So, you know, this is a game where the Britons, like I said, are going to have to start strong. They're going to have to really build a nice lead, and then they're going to have to play comfortably ahead and not get into a kind of a false sense of security and let the Bulldogs hang around. I think this is a game that is prime for an early lead and then kind of building on that lead and really kind of running them up and down the floor tonight.
Well, you have heard what we think about what's going to happen tonight. Let's hear from what the coach thinks. Bobby Lee sat down with Coach Jody May, and here's the pregame show for the coach. We've got basketball on the Britain Sports Network right here on the Britain Sports Network from Kresge Gymnasium.
The countdown to tip-off on the Britain Sports Network continues. The Britons getting set to take on Adrian College. Sports Information Director Bobby Lee alongside head men's basketball coach Jody May. Coach Nate Collins, the MIAA Player of the Week. He scores 20, 17 of those in the second half to lift you guys past Alma. How big of a performance was that?
Well, you know, it was great to see him. He kind of was in a funk for a while, and it was great to see him come around and play well in the second half and shoot the ball really well. You know, when he's making shots, everything else about his game improves as well. His defense improves. His, you know, he's moving faster. And, you know, all those sorts of things. And he had a really good practice the day before. And just, you know, he's a senior. I was really happy for him to come out and you know, have that performance, and we needed it. We needed another spark off the bench, and he provided it. Alma's a tough team, and you know, I'm not sure what happens if he doesn't do that.
Talking about just how the Britons handled last week. Britons were supposed to play Adrian last Wednesday. Obviously, weather got in the way. How did the Britons handle the delay, and how are the Britons handling the opportunity to have to play 4 times in 8 days?
Well, you know, the crazy thing is this year we had 2 weeks where we played 1 game each week with a week off. I don't know if that helped us or not. It's not very good because you know, especially at this time of year, you know, there's only so much practice time you're going to have. You need to save your legs, save their legs, and so I think a little bit. You know, we have some experience with this earlier this year. You know, but obviously, you know, you have to adjust, and it's out of our control. And I try to preach to our guys that you just have to control the controllables, and you know, so you got to play 4 games in 8 days, 3 games in 5 days, whatever it is. And, you know, it is what it is. Everybody else is in the same boat.
So how have you altered the practice schedule and the routine to get you through this series?
Well, I mean, you know, I think Friday we went an hour and 15 minutes, spent some time a little bit more time watching some video. You know, yesterday we just went for an hour, again, watched some more video. by now there's only so much you can do, and they have to have some legs. So you really focus in on maybe a couple key points that you want to work on in practice, and that's about it.
Finally, let's talk about tonight's opponent, Adrian. The Britons were victorious the first time around, but it was a dogfight, and you needed to make some plays in the final minute to win by 10. What makes Adrian such a difficult matchup?
Well, you know what you're going to get, and I think they play really hard, and Coach Lindsay does a great job getting those guys to play really hard. I think they have tough guys. You know that's going to happen when you play. You're going to face a team like that. And I think for 30 minutes last game that we played, Adrian played harder than us and were tougher than us. And I think the last 10 minutes we kind of responded, but I reminded our guys that it was a one-possession game with 1 minute to go. And when you allow a team to play harder than you and tougher than you, then you're in for a dogfight, and that's what we were in last game. So hopefully our guys will respond a little bit better and learn, a lesson that, hey, they're going to play hard and they're going to be tough. And, we just need to match that intensity.
Those are the pregame comments from head coach Jody May. Let's send it back to Jim and Jim at Kresge Gymnasium.
For some basketball here tonight, Jimmy, Albion is 6-4 over the last 10 meetings against Adrian. However, the 76-66 win earlier this year snapped a 2-game losing skid against the Bulldogs. Last year, Adrian won both games by the scores of 67-62 at Adrian and 72-65 at the Kresge Gymnasium. Good news is Britt's coming in on a 2-game winning streak, and they had a big win over the weekend at Alma as well, which was a big plus for the coach and his team.
Yeah, absolutely. Nathaniel Collins hit a bunch of three-point shots for the team. The senior was 4 of 5 from three-point territory in the second half, and he led the Britons to an 88-77 victory over Alma on Saturday. And so, it's incredible the amount of basketball that's going to be played, and the reason we're playing it. Jim, you and I have kind of alluded to a Monday night game, and certainly isn't the norm tonight. I guess it's probably a good idea for those who did not follow before why we're doing a Monday night broadcast. Last Wednesday, of course, we had the severe cold in the area, and it forced the MIAA to postpone all of the games that were scheduled that evening, men's and women's, and they rescheduled those for this evening. So like you and I were talking about on the right here tonight, that's 4 games in 7 days. That's a lot to ask.
Yeah.
I know that once you get into the MIAA tournament, the postseason tournament, you're playing semifinals and finals back-to-back nights. And then if you're in the play-in game, which is new this year, you're also playing that earlier in the week. So that's 3 games in a 7-day stretch. But this is it's one of those things. It certainly wasn't safe to play any of those games, and it caused a Monday night game tonight. And, we're excited for it. But, Coach May was talking about Collins's game on Saturday, finished with 20 points, a season high, 1 shy of his career high set against Alma last February. Said he really enjoyed it and said that shooters have to have confidence. Stephen Harvey scored 6 to lead Alma on an 8-0 run to start the second half. The Scots did take a 1-point lead, but from that point on, the Britons, for the last 14.5 minutes, led and then never trailed in that ball game. So, they were able to cruise to a victory, and that's certainly what we're hoping for tonight. We're hoping for a stronger start, build on that lead, and then be able to coast to a victory.
And for Nate Collins, he is the MIAA Men's Player of the Week in the MIAA this week for that effort that he put up against Alma last week. For the Britons, basically, they got a road streak. After they're done with this one, they head to Kalamazoo, and they will play at Trine then and at Calvin, and then they'll finish the season, and we'll finish our men's season this year in the final week against Hope. With that, we're going to send it down to the floor for the introduction of players and our national anthem. In the starting lineups for both teams tonight as we get ready to tip this off. Jimmy, who are the officials tonight?
Game officials tonight, Jeff Spadowski, Mike Meisner, and Kevin Klein calling the action. And Jim up here above the court, near midcourt, ready to bring you a Monday night hoops evening matchup between the Britons and the Bulldogs.
Well, there's one thing I think if you're a Britons fan and if you're the coach tonight that you really got to worry about, and that's a little bit of a letdown tonight against a team that has not won since back in 2018. And you don't want to let your guard down. You're in a good spot. You're in the number 2 spot right now for the tournament that's coming up. And obviously you would like to be able to bounce Trine when you get that opportunity here pretty soon. But if you lose one tonight, and you could very easily, because you got to believe Adrian's going to try to do everything they can possibly do.
Yep.
As Kalanji jumps the basketball with the Brits, and it will be maintained by the Adrian Bulldogs, and they'll bring it to the front court.
Bulldogs without the services tonight of 3 players, Noah Haig, Cass Elganovsky, and Giovanni DeBari, all out this evening per Bobby Lee.
Good defense in the lane as he get kicked out with 16 to shoot. The jump shot is taken no good by Sam Colbert, and the rebound comes off to the Britons.
Ebling, the number 2 rebounder in the conference, pulls that first one down, and a 1 and out for Adrian.
James L. Davis looking for a little room. They'll go down to Ebling, who puts it off the glass for an easy bucket over top of Kalanji. And it's 2-0 Brits.
And Jordan Harris, number 1, tried to step over. The 6'1 sophomore just got bowled over by Ebling, so glad there was no offensive foul there on that put-up.
Ebling comes out to hook up with Morris. And then Morris will go over to the free throw line.
Here's your guy right here.
Work down on the low base. The ball gets knocked out of bounds.
Ooh, that was a missed call, Jimbo.
With Adrian.
That was a missed call, too, because at the finish of that block, that went off his foot out of bounds. I don't know if you caught that or not, off his right foot.
So the Bulldogs will maintain that, and Harris will inbounds on the end line. Comes into Wyatt Morris. He has Ebling on him.
Trying to go for a double screen up top. They really like that screen and roll. Here we go.
Jump shot from 18 is no good, but it's so far over the rim that Trayshawn Hurd is right there to get the bucket. Shot clock with 2 on it. Jump shot spins out for Colbert. And again, Ebling with 2 rebounds, 2 defensive rebounds to start the Britons off.
Long possession by the Bulldogs. Comes up empty right there, but they're hustling to the ball.
MJ Barnes gets called for the travel, the freshman, who got the start here this evening. And kind of a different look and different lineup for this basketball team. When you take a look at it, you could argue that you have 3 guards on this floor right now in Barnes and Parker and Fordham.
I would say you do.
And then you go with Ebling and as the really only big guy that you got on the floor here.
Good strip.
Nice job by the Brits. Quick hands. Fordham takes it away, brings it to the front court.
Got a trailer.
Davis fakes the 3, kicks to the right. Barnes with a jumper, no good, but the rebound comes off to Fordham. He has it blocked, but we're going to call a foul on Kayshawn Wyatt Morris, the junior, with the block on the shot. Will send the Britons to the free throw line for a couple.
And only 1 senior on this Bulldogs team, Jim. That's number 5, Andrew Leandini, a 6'1 guard. A couple of juniors, a lot of freshmen and sophomores on this team, a very young squad.
For the Britons, they've got a couple of seniors on this team, Arshwan Parker and the gentleman at the line right now, 2 of them, Jalen Fordham. Fordham hits 7 out of 10 from the free throw line, gets the first one. The Brits go up 3-0. And Fordham makes both free throws, and the Brits now up 4-0 here on the Britain Sports Network as Colbert brings it across the timeline.
Have to do a little bit better job on the defensive glass here, though. Adrian can't keep getting second chance points.
Well, it gives it to Kalanji, who loses it, and that's the third takeaway by the Brits. Here's the run out by Parker, up, no good. Ebling runs the floor but can't control the bucket. And the long outline pass comes to Hurd.
Good reaction defense right there.
Brits playing some pretty good defense on their end. 3-point jump shot was a flat one for Jeremy Kalanji, but it was a good one. And it's 4-3 now as Adrian with their first bucket here. Went almost 3 minutes before they scored.
Yeah, 3 minutes to not score, but they're only trailing by 1 point.
That's the one thing that I'm sure Coach is happy with if you're an Adrian fan at this point in time. Davis on the show and go. Fall away jumper, a little too hard. And the only guy there is Kalanji for the rebound. Harris will bring it to the front court here for the Bulldogs. Stops and pops from 3, no good. Ebling again with his 3rd rebound of the night. James L. Davis. Tell you what, when James L. was not in the lineup, especially back again in that Trine game, this team just does not have the firepower that normally does. Inside to Ebling, he gets the double team, puts it up, and it stays in. Looking for the foul, didn't get it. Does get the bucket, and that's 4 now tonight for Ebling, along with 3 rebounds.
Probably a good no call right there. A little contact, but certainly not enough for a whistle, I don't think.
Colbert with a jump shot. A little bit too strong, and right there is Fordham for the rebound.
2 white jerseys under the basket right there for the cleanup. No Bulldogs near the ball that time, so good 1 and out.
Britton's on the backdoor cut. Davis puts it up, and he gets that friendly roll off the rim. That one looked like it might skid off the iron, but instead it gently nuzzled every corner and then fell through.
That's the familiarity with the rims.
8-3 Britons.
Lost the handle.
Britons tried to save it on the end line, but Ebling grabbed it just as it crossed the end line. It will be Adrian basketball. And I don't know, are they going to say there was a change of possession of that? Must have been, because now they moved the clock back down to 16 seconds as the Brits make some changes. Dylan Bennett comes off the bench for the Britons along with Quentin Armstrong.
Good cutoff D right there.
Britons have done a nice job with their defense here early on against Adrian. Harris with a show, no go. Back outside to Harris. They'll swing it to the left side to Hurd. He'll take the jump shot as the buzzer goes off. Didn't hit the rim, and that will be a shot clock violation, and it'll be Britain's basketball.
Yeah, Trayshawn Hurd right there, the 6-foot junior, really out there more as a distributor, setting the screens, also helping facilitate the offense. Forced to take that shot, definitely did not look comfortable on that release.
Bennett gives it off to Barnes. Looking for a cutter. He's got him on the left side. That's Parker.
Want to work it inside to Armstrong right there, but he's well covered.
Ebling, who basically leads all of the scorers early, is on the bench, and Armstrong fights for the rebound. Couldn't get it as Davis missed the long three-pointer. Harris will bring it to the front court.
Ballantyne with the board right there, number 12.
Ballantyne checked in along with the two Brits on that last time out. Trayshawn Hurd again. Dishes to the corner to Ballantyne for the three, and that catches nothing but Armstrong's hands. And the Britons will bring it to the front court.
Got to make them pay for a bad miss like that. You need to come down and get it maybe an and one.
Barnes kicks out for the three, but we've got a foul on the floor as Davis was trying to make his move.
That'll go against Kalanji right there, I believe.
That'll be two team fouls now on Adrian. And
that can't be right. There's number 14.
14's not in the game tonight. Couple substitutions for the Brits now. Nathaniel Collins will check in along with Jalen Fordham.
No, they got a mistake on the official score too, Jimbo.
Yeah,
number 14, Kaz Oganovsky, is not playing tonight. That one went against Jeremy Kalanji.
And that'll be one, I believe, on Kalanji, two on the team. Britain's yet to commit a foul here as we've worked our way through 5 minutes of basketball here at the Kresge. Fordham gives it to Armstrong underneath. Armstrong left it a little bit short. They battle for the rebound.
Ooh, a lot of contact right there, no call.
Parker came up with the basketball, but they run out of time, and the shot clock violation will give the ball back to Adrian. Yeah, it's kind of rough and tumble underneath that bucket.
Yep. So each team with a shot clock violation there and letting them play.
Coach Kyle Lindsay in his third year over here talking to the officials.
Yeah, there was a lot of contact on that loose ball.
Had an assistant coach coming out, really was not pleased with what was not being called underneath, and coach sent him back to the bench real quick. Jordan Harris will bring it to the front court now.
Yeah, the last thing you want as a head coach is one of the assistant coaches. I mean, you get fired up for your players, but don't try not to draw with the officials too much.
Trayshawn Hurd on the spin, and the reach-in foul will go against Dylan Bennett. That'll be the first on Bennett, the first on the Britons here in the first half.
Still very interested to see if they've corrected that foul. Not that it really matters, because you and I both know that there's no number 14 tonight on the floor for the Bulldogs, but little things, man, the little things.
Harris inbounds to Ballantyne, who brings it out front. Gives it off to Hurd. Dribbles into the lane, then kicks out to the right corner. Brits with good defense. Nate Collins out there right away. 10 seconds to shoot. Show and go by Harris to the rim. Nice off the glass and in. Nice job by Harris to find a little crack and a little seam and get to the backboard.
Kind of weaved around the defense right there, too. Well done.
8-5 as Bennett holds it above his head. Over to Parker. Parker behind his back. Into the corner. Fordham for three. In and out. Rebound comes off to Hurd for Adrian. Britain's gone a little cold, have not really shot well from behind the arc here early on. Plenty of time left in this one, only 6.5 in at the 13:20 mark. Breaks get applied by Kalanji, then he kicks it back outside. Brits again with good defense on Ansara. Ball swings to Hurd, we got a whistle underneath, and it will go against the Britons. This time it goes against Bennett again, and that's 2 on Bennett and 2 on the team. And wholesale substitutions as Davis and Barnes check back in for the Brits.
Bennett pleading his case on the way out, saying hands up, but he definitely did have hold in there. There was certainly a battle for position.
And Colbert comes onto the floor along with Wyatt Morris for the Adrian Bulldogs.
Want to make them cut out, not towards the basket right here. No easy looks.
20 seconds on the shot clock as this ball gets tossed to the half-court line. Sam Colbert.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
2 players in the vicinity.
Jordan Harris stepped in front of that one. Ball swings down to the corner. Brits with good defense as Armstrong's down there. Back out to Harris for a long three. No good, and Armstrong pulls down the rebound. Harris was looking for a call, didn't get it. Nate Collins was applying the defense.
Nate Collins also opened down the floor, but too risky a pass. They thought better of it.
Brits will set a play, up 8-5, a low-scoring contest here early on. Lobs it down in the corner to Barnes. Barnes takes a dribble and a jump shot, and that will be a 2 as he's just inside that arc. 10-5 now, Brits. And maybe the Brits.
More good defense, Jim.
Harris pulls up and he'll let go for 3. And Fordham will pull down the rebound for the Britons and they'll run. Fordham comes down, sets up, throws one off the backboard, doesn't catch any iron. And Ballantyne's there for the Bulldogs to rebound.
Nice match underneath, but they didn't recognize it in time.
Neither one of these teams really lighting it up tonight as far as statistically. We'll get to some of that here as we go.
It's a grinded out game.
It really is. Ballantyne. As they lob it down inside to Wyatt Morris. He misses it.
Made that twice as hard as it should have been.
Got the rebound, goes back up. And the foul on the floor will go against the Brits. And that foul will go against Nathaniel Collins as Caden Ebling about ready to check back in. Armstrong will take a seat for the Britons.
It's only the third made field goal, 3 of 12 for 25% for the Bulldogs, 4 of 11 from the floor for the Britons. Adrian's hit the game's only 3-point shot, and this is the Bulldogs' first free throw attempt. Both teams perfect from the line. 1 of 1 for the Bulldogs, 2 of 2 for the Britons.
So the Britons with the basketball and a 2-point lead here as we're heading towards the midway spot here the first half. Lob pass to Ebling a little bit too high, and it'll get knocked out of bounds off of Trayshawn Hurd. And I think Hurd that just surprised him.
Yep.
He was expecting that to catch some iron somewhere, and it hit him right in the hands and went right back out of bounds. 18 to shoot now for the Brits. So they inbound underneath the bucket. Fordham into Ebling, triple teamed. Couldn't make the shot. Fights for the rebound, but knocks it out of bounds.
Again, a lot of contact underneath that time with number 24, Keyshawn Wyatt Morris. Good job by Wyatt Morris to stand in there with the heat.
They are letting them play tonight, aren't they, Jimmy, huh?
Yep, that's okay.
This has been pretty equally called on both sides.
Good block.
Nice block by Barnes. Kick goes to the corner to Hurd,
Trouble.
And Hurd steps on the out-of-bounds line over there.
Just as good.
We'll take either one of those. Either way, the ball comes back to the Britons.
Rough start, both teams.
Really been a very cold start to the ball game. Even though it's warm outside, it's cold in the gym here tonight for both these teams. James L. Davis with Colbert on him. Playing an old pass with Collins, and now he'll go back to work. Davis lobs into Ebling, and before he gets the ball, we got a grab on Jordan Harris. And that will be team foul number 4 on Adrian, number 1 on Harris.
Do you notice that every time they have a grab underneath, the player who commits the foul always just puts their hands straight up and said, I was just playing straight up? Except for the part where, and it happened on the other end of the floor too, so let's just call it what it is. You know, grab's a grab. Doesn't matter if your hands are up in the air or reaching towards your opponent. Grab's a grab.
Hey, if you're out there listening tonight, we'd love to hear from you this evening.
Webcast at albion.edu. Really want to work this one into Ebling. There you go.
Ebling underneath for a little jump hook, and that's 6 now on the night for Ebling as he gets that one to go over the rim. 12-8 now for the Britons. Are up by 4.
Wyatt Morris is 6'5", so he's a big guy, but he's having trouble so far.
And a whistle and
moving screen.
Moving screen on 21, on 12, on Caleb Ballantyne. Have to figure out which hand is which there all of a sudden. Yeah, it could have been 21. Could have been, yeah, it is Colbert. For Colbert, that's 1. And for the Bulldogs, that is number 4. I was wrong with that last call. Davis has Colbert on him, so he gives it up to Parker, to Fordham. The corner and the jump shot by Barnes catches nothing. Both teams airballing an awful lot, and Sam Colbert right there to take that one in. Well, there's been more balls that have touched nothing here tonight, Jim, I think, than have gone in. Right at the halfway point of the first half, 12-8 Britons.
Nice ball fake.
With a nice stop. Shot no good, but the tip comes back to Kalanji. Kalanji has it rejected, then goes back up and he'll draw the whistle on the second try. And that one will go against Jalen Fordham. Kalanji, again, as you said, Jim, 6'5". He and Wyatt Morris, both 6'5" young fellows that are juniors. And both of them have had balls sent right back in their face tonight a couple different times. As he hits the first free throw and makes it a 12-9 game.
A couple of subs come in for the Bulldogs. Well, one sub, sorry. The other one's just walking to the bench to talk with the coaches real quick.
They do a lot of talking on their side, and nobody on the free throw lane as the second one is missed, and the Brits get an uncontested rebound. 9-point game.
Surprised by that.
Yeah, I am too.
Put one person down there to see if he can maybe get a loose ball, maybe get a cheap whistle.
Especially with the size that they do have. Barnes with a jumper from the corner. That'll be a three. And maybe the Brits are starting to find the range here. 15-9 as MJ Barnes finds his 5th point of the night.
Get you some scores off the MIAA website here momentarily as well.
Hurd has a double team, so kick it in the left side there to Ballantyne. Bringing it back out front to Kalanji.
Very surprising score from Olivet coming up, Jim.
Long three-point shot again, just barely touches iron, and Caleb Ebling is right there to pull in the rebound. Boy, I'll tell you what, there's some serious defense being played as Parker got that one sent back at him. Jump shot catches glass and then goes in for Sam Colbert. And we'll have a timeout call here on the Adrian sideline, and we can check some scores, Jim, around the conference.
27-11 midway through the first quarter. Olivet leads Trine.
Oh, wow.
27-11. That's a surprise. Hope leads Kalamazoo 29-17 midway through the first. Your score here is 15-12. Let's see. Calvin leads Alma 22-13, again midway through the first. On the women's side, Trine leads Olivet 26-2.
Wow.
About 2 minutes left in quarter number one. Hope leads Kalamazoo 15-4. Albion leads Adrian with about 3.5 left in the first, 16-14. Alma leads Calvin 13-10 at Calvin. And there's also, well, that's a future lacrosse game coming up in April. So, you know, probably not going to have a score on that one.
Probably not. Brits only shooting 38%, 6 for 16 from the floor so far. For the Bulldogs, 23.5, 4 for 7. The Bulldogs are 2 for 9 from behind the arc, including that last one. Brits are 1 for 6, so neither team having a good night here for distance. Britons are 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 2 for 3 from Adrian tonight. 4 turnovers compared to 2 turnovers for the Adrian Bulldogs.
Kalanji with 4, Colbert and Wyatt Morris with 3, and Jordan Harris with 2 for the Britons. Caden Ebling leads all scorers with 6. MJ Barnes has 5, and Davis and Fordham with 2 points apiece.
Kalanji and Colbert both with 3 rebounds tonight here early on for the Bulldogs. Caden Ebling leads everybody with 4 tonight, along with 6 points. So interesting first 12 minutes of basketball game here from the Kresge. And it's only a 3-point contest, and you can see Adrian came into this ball game tonight believing that they can give the Brits a run for their money, and they'd love to be able to be a spoiler tonight.
Yep, it's a little easier when there's no pressure on you.
Nice feed down to Ebling again, and Ebling basically with 8 points. He's got almost half of the points the Britons have scored here tonight.
Well, you had a switch off there with Trayshawn Hurd, 6 foot, trying to guard him under the basket right there. They'll take that one all day long. Hurd
spins and dishes outside, and a 3-point shot by Colbert is good. So Colbert now with 6, and this lead back down to 2. Arshawn Parker brings it in the front court, gives it to Jalen Fordham, back to Parker.
Just need more consistency on the offensive end for the Britons right now.
Collins kicks it out front. 3-point shot is wide right, and the rebound comes off of Ebling hand and into the hands of Jordan Harris. And checking in Zach Winston, who took that shot for the Britons.
Chance to tie or take the lead for the Bulldogs here. 7.5 to play.
Harris gives the show and go, but Fordham not going anywhere. The senior says, nope. You got a little bit to learn, youngster. Jump shot by Ballantyne's no good. Rebound comes off to Fordham. And the Britons have the basketball. Lob pass goes into Ebling. Off balance, threw it up. Really a kind of a rough shot there, but had no place to go.
Yeah, I don't think he was pushed down either. I think he lost his footing.
And Sara was the young man that got the rebound. I agree, Jim. Just a tough catch and a tough move to the rim. And on the other end, a foul will go against the Britons, and it will send Jeremy Kalanji to the free throw line, I believe.
And Arshawn Parker whistled for that foul. That's his first. Team's 5th.
Ballantyne waiting to come into the ball game here for the Bulldogs.
But as you mentioned in the first game these two teams played, free throw shooting really not a bonus for the Bulldogs. They've been, I believe, perfect tonight, though.
Kalanji knocks the first one down. James L. Davis comes back onto the floor for the Britons here. They are 2 of 3 now from the free throw line. I think we're a couple behind. I think they're 4 of 5 now.
Yep, and we're tied at 17. 7 minutes to play.
So the Britons have not been able to get any breathing room against this Bulldog basketball team here early. And except for that fellow right there who has it stripped away, Ebling trying to go 4-on-1 or 1-on-4. Got to find somebody who's standing wide open and make him pay for that one. A foul on the other end, I believe, goes against Collins. That'll be his second.
And Nate Collins got that right arm tangled up, and he kind of locked that right arm of his man and wouldn't let go. That's unfortunately an easy call for the officials.
Ballantyne out, Harris back in for the Bulldogs. Britons bring Jalen Fordham back in the ball game along with Armstrong. And now also on the sideline is Ansara. He'll sit down, and back in the game comes Wyatt Morris. 17 all, Adrian with the basketball.
Both teams really testing their depth tonight.
Harris showed the three, then he kicks it over to Colbert, and Colbert now has made 2 of them from that corner.
Now you got a fired up Bulldog bunch out there, Jim.
That's 9 now for Colbert, and a 3-point lead for the visiting Bulldogs. Ball comes to Jalen Fordham. He dribbles into traffic. We've got a scrum right at the top of the key, and we'll see what the call is. Jump ball. And the arrow is pointing towards the Britons, so they'll maintain possession.
I believe that's the first tie ball change of possession from the opening tip.
Ballantyne in, Harris comes out. Britons bring Parker out, and MJ Barnes back in the ball game.
I see a fired up Adrian College bunch, and I see a little bit of discombobulated Albion Breton squad out there. Need to regroup.
And Sara checks in as well. And Kalanji sits down for the Bulldogs. Lob pass comes to Fordham, top of the key. Down inside to Armstrong, and he has it swatted away by Wyatt Morris.
Come up limping just a little bit there on that first step.
And Sara.
Mismatch underneath, they switch.
Swing it over to the Ballantyne in the corner. Here's the young fellow that's hurt us the most, though, and that is Colbert, who gets the shot. But before the shot goes in, and it did go in, we have a whistle on the screen, and a blocking foul will go against Wyatt Morris, Keyshawn Wyatt Morris.
That'll be 2 on Wyatt Morris.
5 team fouls now on Adrian, 6 team fouls on Albion, so we're getting close to that bonus time. Long jumper by James L. Parker or Davis, and maybe that will turn some things around as Davis gets the 3 to tie it back up at 20.
Second made 3-pointer of the night. Britton's 3 of 8 now from deep.
Britton's going to have to turn up the heat a little bit as Colbert gets all the way to the rim, puts up a very awkward scoop shot. Armstrong there to clean up the rebound.
Potential goaltending call missed right there, though, as Fordham, I think, had his hand in the basket on that up.
20-20, 5 minutes to play, opening half. Fordham goes down to Armstrong. Here comes the double team. Back out front, Barnes with a three-point shot, and that's how you're going to eliminate that double and triple team underneath.
Yep.
Once it comes back in, it's got to come back out because somebody's standing there with no black jersey in front of them.
Well, you said it earlier, Jim. Caden Ebling getting all those entry passes and trying to go 1-on-2, 1-on-3, 1-on-4. You have to communicate and you have to have full court awareness. And last couple possessions, they've worked a good inside-outside game.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the key to to turning this thing around, because I don't care whether you're one of the better scorers in the MIAA or not. Caden Ebling cannot go 1-on-4 all night long or 1-on-3 all night long and be successful. He's had a pretty good night so far, but the last couple trips down, they have paid extreme attention to him, and he's found that road to the bucket pretty tough. And Armstrong had the right idea the last time, kicked it back outside for the three. Brits up 23-20 here as we're in under 5 minutes to play in the opening half.
Bulldogs only shooting 29% from the floor, 6 of 21, but they only trail by 3.
Harris gets switched off to Armstrong, kicks it inside the paint. Nice contest underneath. The ball will go off of Winston's knee and out of bounds and will stay with Adrian. Armstrong really active underneath on that defensive glass, Jim. I tell you what, he looked like he was out of position, and before you knew it, he was right there to contest that shot.
Low pointing that ball right there as he's putting it on the floor and bringing it back up. He's getting it right around the hips and able to get that deflection.
Back in the starting 5 here for the Bulldogs. Jump shot is no good by Kalanji, and the rebound comes off to the Britons again.
Kalanji does not put a lot of air on those shots, Jim.
No, everything goes on a straight line. He made that first one, but it's either going in or it's coming right back out you. Armstrong forced one up, but got his own rebound. Winston drives, dishes back outside to Davis. He'll set and shoot off the front iron, and the rebound comes off to Sam Colbert. 23-20. Low scoring affair here to open things up in the Kresge. Last time I was here and watched something like this was against Kalamazoo a couple of weeks ago, where the Brits had a real slow first half and then were able to go in and make the adjustments at halftime. Jump shot by Harris, no good, and the ball is controlled by Wyatt Morris, but then lost it. Boy, Morris really skied for that one.
You got to call that.
Then he runs over James L. Davis.
And didn't even try to hide it.
Nope. And that'll be 3 now on him. So Keyshawn Wyatt Morris, the junior, has 3 personal fouls along with 3 points, and he'll have to sit the pine for the rest of the half.
And that's about as tough an ask right there as an offensive foul on a fast break.
Yeah.
That you know you're about to get run over, but that's good ball handling to get in the path of a streaking player running back to play defense. You know he's probably going to run you over. So
Wyatt Morris skied for that rebound, pulled it down, then had his pocket picked, and was a little bit frustrated by that whole situation. He got his revenge and his 3rd foul. Fall away by Barnes for 2 is good. 25-20.
Not much of a revenge, though, when you're going to be sitting on the bench the rest of the first half and can't really help your team.
Got to think about that a little bit. Ansar, who just checked into the game for him with the basketball. Down to Kalanji. Kalanji double team, but he gets up, goes over the top, and bounces it off the glass and in. 25-22.
And again, just no arc on those shots, but he gets up so high that he doesn't have to put arc on it.
James L. Davis brings it back down. Barnes, who hit that last shot, thought about it, then throws it into Ebling and kicks it right back out to Fordham. And the big rainbow goes down for Jalen Fordham, make it 28-22. That's 5 for Jalen here tonight. Brits with a little show of full court pressure.
Almost forced him to use the 5 inbounding, a simple entry pass there.
Hurd gives it to Harris. Harris drives the lane. Tough shot, no good. Ebling there for the rebound. Brits now need to put a little space between they and the Bulldogs before the end of the half.
Just need consistency for the next 2 minutes and change.
Davis has Harris on him. Over to Fordham on the right wing.
Good shots, good communication.
Almost taken away by Colbert. Swings left side. Barnes misses the shot, but Armstrong's there to clean it back up. Back into Armstrong, the reward for the rebound. Double team leaves it short. Ebling there to fight for it and put it back in. I'll tell you what, man.
I think they feel they have a decided advantage underneath, Jim.
Caden Ebling, I would agree with you. And when you hustle and go to the rim the way that Caden Ebling and his compadres have tonight, including number 44, Quentin Armstrong, you definitely do have an advantage on that rim.
Albion College celebrates Black History Month with Soul Food Night from 5 to 7 p.m. on February 6th at Baldwin Hall. Baldwin Hall will feature a variety of traditional African-American dishes, all you can eat. Cost is just $10.50 for adults. Reservations are not required. For more information, contact Albion College's Intercultural Affairs Office at ice@albion.edu or call 517-629-0501.
Brits have kicked up the pace a little bit. They're shooting 41% now from the floor, 11 for 27, 33% from deep, 4 for 12, and they're still perfect at the free throw line, 2 for 2 for Adrian, 7 for 26 at 27%, 28%, almost 29% from behind the arc, and 80%, 4 out of 5 for the free throw line. Turnovers still 6 right now for Adrian compared to 3 for the Britons. And points off of turnovers, the Brits have 9. Total rebounds, it's pretty tight right now, Jimmy. 18 for the visiting Bulldogs compared to 17 for the Britons.
Colbert leads the Bulldogs with 9 points, Kalanji with 8. And then it really drops off. Only 4 players scored for Adrian. Wyatt Morris has 3 and Jordan Harris has 2. Barnes leads all scorers with 10 for the Brits. Ebling has 8. Davis has 5, as does Fordham. So again, both teams have brought out a lot of depth, but only 4 players have scored for each squad.
Harris brings it into the front court and dishes it off real quickly to Hurd. Hurd down into the corner to Ansara, and then they wick it the other direction. Show and go with Kalanji. He's cut off, drives it to the rim, tries to find his buddy Hurd on the baseline. He'll send it back outside, and Colbert, who is really hot for a while, misses the three-point shot, and the rebound comes off to the home team.
Maybe about a step beyond what his comfort zone is right there, but trying to temperature check.
Well, and you know, he hit those 3 in a row, then he hit the one where there was the blocking foul that went in, and this was the first one after that. Jump shot almost got the friendly roll for MJ Barnes, but it doesn't, and it comes off to Trayshawn Hurd.
Under 1 minute to play here in the first half.
8-point cushion for the Britons as Hurd dishes to Harris. Harris looking for some room on that baseline, but Davis right there in his face.
Great defense right there.
Back out front to Wyatt Morris. Again in the Harris in the corner with 10 to shoot. Cross court jumper for Colbert is way short. He hit 3 in a row and he's missed 2 in a row now. MJ Barnes finally controls that basketball at the end line. 24 to shoot for the Brits, 29 on the clock. So they got 5 seconds to deal with after they take this shot, and Coach Jody May comes out and says, let's use all of it. We may not get the last shot, but we're going to only give them 4 or 5 seconds to take the last shot in the ball game and the half here, and let's make it count here. 3 to shoot. Lob into Ebling off the glass with the left hand, and a nice play as Ebling finally got a one-on-one situation. Colbert and Ansara has defense in front of him. He got it off, but it was too late. And the Brits will take a 10-point lead into the locker room, 32-22 here on the Britain Sports Network.
Good close to that first half by the Britons in a game that was really a little too close for comfort early there. Bulldogs even had the lead for a small stretch. We'll get you some halftime statistics here momentarily, and I want to let everybody know that Ordinary Days, a musical by Adam Guan, runs in the Herrick Center Auditorium February 15 through 17 and February 20 through 23. Email theater department, that's THEATRE department, Secretary Nicole Lee, nlee@albion.edu for ticket information.
Team stats here at the half. The Britons on top 32-22. They shot almost 42%, 13 of 31 from the floor, 4 of 13 for 31% from behind the arc, 2 of 2 for 100% there from the free throw line. For Adrian, they're shooting 24%, 7 of 29 from the floor, 4 of 17 from deep, 4 of 5 from the free throw line. Turnovers, the Britons with 3, the Bulldogs with 6. Points off turnovers, the Brits with 9, the Bulldogs with 5. Total rebounds, the Brits now with the lead, 21-20 at the half. Offensive rebounds, 5 to 7. Britons with 5, Bulldogs with 7. Defensive rebounds, Britons with 16 compared to 13 there for the Bulldogs. Assists, the Britons with 12 assists. That's not a bad ratio there. 12 assists on 13 made buckets here tonight. 5 assists for the Bulldogs. Each team with a block. Brits with 3 steals, 1 steal for Adrian. Team fouls both had 6. Neither team has any bench points tonight, which you pointed out a while ago, Jim. Second chance points are tied 4-4. Points in the paint, Britons with 12, Bulldogs with none, and fast break points. Neither team has scored on the fast break here at this point in time. If you want to take a look at individual stats, Jim.
Sam Colbert leads the Bulldogs with 9 points on just 3 of 11 shooting. All 3 of those were three-point makes. Jeremy Kalanji has 8 points, Keyshawn Wyatt-Morris with 3, and he also has those 3 fouls, Jim. Just 1 of 3 from the floor and a free throw. And then 2 points for Jordan Harris. Each team only has 4 players scoring so far. Kate Ebling leads all scorers with 12 and 6 boards, 10 points for MJ Barnes, and 5 points apiece for James L. Davis and Jalen Fordham. Fordham also has 3 rebounds and 4 assists to go along with those 5 points. A lot of players getting stats in other areas, but again, only 4 players on each team scoring in what has been a pretty tightly contested but low-scoring affair so far.
It's halftime here at the Kresge. We're going to step away for a couple of minutes. When we come back, we'll take a look around the conference and get you ready for the second half. The Brits on top, 32-22, here on the Britain Sports Network.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back here into the Kresge Gymnasium on the campus of Albion College. Jim and Jim on a Monday night, and the men from Albion take care of business here at halftime. They're up by 10, 32-22 over the gentlemen from Adrian, the Bulldogs here in town. And Jim, let's take a look around the conference. The MIAA all playing on Monday night here tonight, and there were some interesting scores. Let's see how everybody stacks up around halftime.
Absolutely. At halftime, Olivet leads Trine 46-35. That's a bit of a surprise. Hope leads Kalamazoo at the half 48-40 on the road. Your halftime score here, a 10-point cushion for the Britons, 32-22. And the start of the second half, Calvin up big, 50-30 at Alma. Jim, you got the ladies' scores
on
as
the
well.
ladies' side, Trine leads Olivet at halftime, 48-13. Hope at halftime up 42-15. The Adrian Albion game just before the half here, and we'll get some up-to-date stats, I'm sure, on this one here in just a minute. The Britons on top of the Bulldogs in Adrian tonight, 38-29. And Alma on top of Calvin, 31-24, as they're about ready to start the third quarter. And we'll go up and see if we can't catch some live stats here on that Britain's women's game. Ladies now up at halftime, 44-31. So both the men and the women with double-digit leads here as we head to halftime. Leading scorers here tonight, Sam Carter has 8 for the Britons. Rain Hinton with leads all scorers right now. She has 17 points for the Lady Britons. The Britons got off to a 25-17 start in quarter number 1, and then they won quarter number 2, 19-14. And as we said, they lead Adrian tonight, 44-31. So looks like everything's going the right direction over in Adrian tonight for the Lady Britons. For the men, Jimmy, they got off to kind of a tough start. Both teams looked like they were struggling with this first 5 or 6 minutes on a Monday night. Obviously, neither team accustomed to playing on a Monday night. Normally they play on Saturday, and then they have a practice schedule, as the coach talked about in the pregame show, and then they get a Monday, which is kind of a day where they don't have a lot of responsibilities, a little practice, and they don't have to worry about going out and butting heads with another team from the MIAA. But because of all the bad weather last week, this one postponed to tonight, and both teams looked a little rusty because of it.
Yeah, I think that overall, across the conference, you saw that surprising score with Trine. And, I think there's something to be said for that. Athletes at this level are creatures of habit. And if Monday is a day where most of these teams, and I'm sure the other teams, are fairly consistent with the schedule that Coach May has for the Britons. Don't know that, just saying, but I'd have to think that if, athletes being creatures of habit, if Monday is an off day, then it has to be hard to just turn that on. It's not like you just, okay, and I know you pick it up eventually, and I think that's what happened late in that first half with the Britons. I think they kind of finally got in the rhythm a little bit. That's when you saw them go on a nice run. The largest lead of the half was 10, which is your halftime advantage here. And the Bulldogs actually did lead by 3 at one point, their largest lead at the 6:30 mark. Again, it's just it's an interesting ball game. It's a grinded out game. I'm certainly happy, and I'm sure Coach May is happy with a 10-point lead. Like to see them maintain a double-digit lead for a majority of the second half, and don't let the Bulldogs hang around here as we go deep into the second half.
Expect the starting 5 for both sides. That'll be Jordan Harris, Trayshawn Hurd, Sam Colbert, Nolan Ansara, and Jeremy Kalanji. In fact, the only change, Keyshawn Wyatt Morris started the first half for the Bulldogs. He has 3 fouls. He'll be on the bench to open things up. For the Brits, it'll be M.J. Barnes, who has 10 points in the first half. James L. Davis Jr. with 5. Jalen Fordham with 5. Caden Ebling with 12. And they'll start, Quentin Armstrong will be our 5th player on the floor right now, according to the halftime stats. But in fact, they've gone back to that original starting 5 of Barnes, Parker, Davis, Fordham, and Ebling. So that'll be how it all stacks up. It'll be Bulldog basketball, and they'll head the opposite direction here to open things up in the second half.
Really almost a 4-guard look. We talked about the stretches in the first half where Coach May was kind of rolling with a 3-guard look at times. I would argue this is almost a 4-guard look right here.
I would agree with you. The only thing that doesn't make it a 4-guard look is the fact that Fordham can just flat jump out of the gym at maybe that small forward spot. But you're right, Jim. He's not the tallest guy on the floor, but boy, very active as he plays a little defense at the top of the key. First shot is missed, but rebounded then by the Bulldogs. And we'll correct ourselves. Wyatt Morris back in the game with those 3 personal fouls. Galanji back to Morris on the top of the key.
It's a double dribble right there, not called.
Colbert with the fall away off the glass, and that's his first bucket of the second half. And that's the young fellow that's kept him in this ball game, Jim.
Yep, he's showing his versatility right there. All 3 of his makes in the first half were from distance, that one a little bit closer.
Long jumper by Davis is no good, but Ebling pulls it back down, out to Barnes, into the corner for Fordham. He'll dribble, kick back outside. Barnes for 3, catches nothing, and Hurd's right there for the rebound.
Not a good start for the Britons on either end.
Britons had a couple of good looks, just couldn't knock anything down. And they have an 8-point lead here as we start off the second half here at the Kresge. Colbert has Parker on him, over to Harris.
And he's going to have to guard him way back there, see?
Colbert puts up the three-point shot, and Parker crowds him just a little bit, and he's going to go to the free throw line to shoot three now.
Yep, it's that shooter's trick right there. When you fall through, you kind of kick those feet out to see if you can get a little extra contact, and if the shooter falls, they look at the fall, not how he fell.
Colbert with 10 points, with no points here on the night so far, and he hits the very first one.
And again, unless they bring him in the second shot, which they're not gonna, nobody for the Bulldogs on the rebounding side here. So
there you go.
Again, it's a 3-shot foul, so it's a moot. But
they got it right there. Although they had 0 up on the scoreboard, he's got 12. And now he's going to shoot his third time, and he hits all 3 of them. So Colbert now with 13, 1 foul on the night. And I was wondering when I saw that 0 on the scoreboard, I thought, hold on a minute, that's not right. Britain's now off to an 0-5 start here to start the second half as Parker dribbles and gives off to Davis. Davis finds a double team, back out to Parker, straight on for 3, a little bit short. And the rebound came off to the Bulldogs, but got loose as Wyatt Morris couldn't control it. Brits lost track of it as they were heading down to play defense, and Bulldogs lucky to maintain that basketball. Colbert from straight on, he's feeling it, baby. It's in. He's got 6 now to open things up, and just like that, the Britons have a 2-point lead, and they'll take a timeout to talk things over.
8-0 start to the second half so far.
Not a good way to get going. And the Britons, who came out with a 10-point lead, might have feel a little too confident, but 21 has just flat out put the Bulldogs back in this basketball game.
Britain Bound is a visit program designed for admitted students to get a feeling of what it is like to be an Albion College student for a day. Britain Bound programs are scheduled for Monday, February 18, Friday, March 15, and Monday, April 15. Visit albion.edu/admission to register.
Looking at 3-point shooting percentage, still not all that fantastic for Adrian.
But they're knocking a bunch down, and they're within 2.
They're hitting them when they need to, and they hit the 3 free throws that went along with the foul on the 1 miss that they've had here to open up the second half. The Britons going to have to focus in and get going because the Bulldogs came to play basketball here on this Monday night. Lob goes to Armstrong. Davis swings back out to Fordham, to Barnes in the corner, back to Armstrong.
Good kick.
Fordham for 3, the floater in and out, and the rebound goes long to Hurd, who
like
pulls
that
it down
look.
for Adrian.
Just didn't get it to drop, rimmed out.
Keep doing that and you'll be okay as the night goes on, I do believe. Hurd looking for some help. He has Armstrong. Got around Armstrong and then put it up a little too hard. We've got a jump ball situation, and I believe that'll be Britain's ball because Adrian brought the ball in to open up the second half. So a good job by Armstrong to fight for the rebound underneath. And a good job as well by Wyatt Morris to tie him up.
Feisty bunch, the Bulldogs.
Britons have now gone almost 3 minutes without a score here to open up the second half. Armstrong battling with Wyatt Morris into the lane, off the glass. There you go.
Take it however you can get it.
Get it down and get it in. That's all you need. 34-30 now. That's the first points for Quentin Armstrong tonight. Harrison works off the pick. Back out front, looking to try to go down with the gentleman that they're looking for, Kalanji, with some pretty good defense from the Britons, but the reach-in foul will go against the Brits as he drives towards the rim.
They get Fordham on that one?
Picked up James L. Davis on that one. That's his first of the night. Second on the team now here in the half. Well, in fact, they did get Fordham now. They changed it from 14 to 20. Good eyes, Jimmy. Harris to inbounds underneath the bucket. 20 seconds to shoot for Adrian. Long pass to Kalanji, to Harris. Between his legs, and then Davis was right there. And Fordham steps in front of the pass. And here comes the Brits on the breakout. Fordham with the contested lay-in. Harris with the foul, and Fordham gets the bucket and will go to the free throw line.
I think they get Harris on that one. Played tough defense. Definitely made contact.
That's the difference there in a senior Jalen Fordham and a sophomore Jalen Fordham when they saw him 2 years ago. That patience, even in the fast break.
And you say that Harris might have maybe visible blood.
Got a cut on the forearm, I believe.
Saying on the hand there. That's a tough spot to bandage up too. Probably gonna have to wrap that.
So that slows everything down here. The Brits back up by 6.
Surprised they also don't check the floor to see if there's any on the floor. Usually if you get a cut on the hand, you might have a drip somewhere.
And for a little tiny cut, you're gonna see a bandage.
Yeah.
It looks like this young fella has a major fracture. Clock stopped right here with 16:36 to play in the ball game, and you can see the hand wrapped up.
Yeah,
it's like a boxer.
Exactly. All that for a scratch, really.
Fordham now with a chance for the 3-point play after making the basket. And the free throw catches nothing but net. 37-30 now as the Britons up by 7. Harris will bring the ball in the front court. Britons are going to pay some attention to Colbert as MJ Barnes now going to shadow him like a raincoat here tonight on this rainy Monday night. And then they bring the double team.
Nice 5-0 run by the Brits to stretch the lead back out.
13 to shoot now for Adrian. Harris drives into trouble. Shots no good. Ball bounced around. James L. Davis says the ball went out off of Adrian. The official agrees with it, and it will be their basketball.
I think in a 50-50 ball like that, sometimes you see it, you think you see it, but
just got to sell it a little bit.
Having that extra player there just for positive reinforcement to reassure you that it's the Britons' ball.
You're right, Mr. Referee.
Great call, great call.
As always, double team out front, and the blocking foul, I think, will go on Valentine, I believe. Let's see who they. Nope, they're going to go on Hurd, number 4. Hurd's first foul of the night. Team foul number 2. Both teams now with 2 team fouls here in the second half. Britons need to go on about an 8 or 10 point run here to take a little of the fire out of these Bulldogs. Armstrong had the ball tapped away. It is controlled by Barnes. Long jumper by James L. Davis, no good. Rebound controlled after a little bit of a volleyball action by Wyatt Morris. Kalanji goes end to end and then just kind of leaves it at about 9 feet. James L. Davis.
I think he was anticipating contact, you think?
Something. Or he ran out of gas. Blew a sneaker down there. Double team. Armstrong goes around and between Trayshawn Hurd.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Hurd didn't get that ball. Must have swiped at it and just missed by a fraction of a second because he was in perfect position for the deflection.
For Armstrong, that's 4 in the night, and the Brits now back up by 9. Lob goes into Hurd, but lowers the shoulder.
Foul, yes.
And rams into Arshawn Parker.
Young man's built like a halfback, too.
Yeah, he is. I'll tell you what, if that young fellow played football,
I wouldn't want to tackle him.
He would be a load, I am sure. Not happy, not buying the call at all, but yeah, he did. Oh, they're going to call him for the technical because he's talking to the official, waving him off.
Yeah, he walked over with the ball. Had quite a long walk to the official to flip it to him, and he was talking the whole time, and now he's talking to him. He smartly goes over to an assistant instead of to the official.
Yeah.
The official, once you get teed up, the last thing they want to hear is
your explanation.
More of your explanation. Yes,
no
sir.
doubt about that. Parker will shoot the technical.
You know what he could do, Jim?
Yeah.
He could write those thoughts down if he can find a cell phone and email them to webcast@albion.edu.
There you go. Parker makes 1 out of 2. And if you're out there and like to talk to us a little bit yet tonight, you can do that at webcast.albion.edu. And let us know what you think. But Trayshawn Hurd not buying the explanation. The free throw makes it a 10-point game at 40-30, and the Brits have the basketball in the backcourt.
We'll hop back up on the MIAA site here momentarily to get you some updated scores on the men's and women's sides.
Davis has Harris on him. They give it to Parker. To Fordham. Fordham with Colbert in front of him.
They want to work it underneath Armstrong, but he's just not open. Wouldn't be a good pass.
9 seconds to shoot. Parker makes the move, puts it up, no good, and 3 Adrian Bulldogs waiting there for the rebound. Harris will bring it up. Nice dribble down the lane, gets Armstrong in the air, but can't put the shot in. The rebound came off to Keyshawn Wyatt Morris.
I think Fordham got the foul there. It'll be a 2-shot foul. That's 2 on Fordham.
You know, you look at Wyatt Morris and Kalanji, both at 6'5", both with some pretty good ups.
Yeah.
But still, the Brits' game plan tonight is to go down
attack the middle
on that low block somewhere and play right at the rim against a couple guys you'd think would be pretty solid at defending. Brits will bring Ebling back in the ball game, and they'll also bring Dylan Bennett in the game.
So quality minutes by Armstrong right there, Jim.
Barnes and Armstrong sit down. Free throw is no good, and Ebling's right there to clean the rebound off the rim.
We wait till the next timeout or dead ball to give you the MIAA scores.
James L. Davis, who's had pretty much of a quiet night tonight. They lob it back down into Ebling, and Colbert reaches through and around and in to pick up the foul.
What are you going to do right there? You're
Not
trying
much.
to fight for a position. You don't want an easy up by Ebling within about 5-6 feet of the basket. You just kind of got caught up in a bad switch mismatch right there and had to grab the arm.
Ebling at 6'7", Colbert at 5'11". Hurd steals the inbounds pass. He's going down the floor with Fordham, who just decides wisely to let him go. 40-33. Nice job by Colbert there to anticipate where that ball was coming, and Fordham had no idea he was around.
Sometimes a steal and a fast break layup like that can ignite a little run. We'll see if the Bulldogs have that run in them or if the Britons can respond.
Parker takes it to the rim.
Well, I wasn't even looking to shoot right there, Jim.
Bennett brings it back out. Davis fires for 3, and he's got it.
That's a good answer right there, because, again, that fast break really could have led to something, but you kind of just cut that off with a big 3.
Davis averages 14 a night. He has 8 so far. And that was a big 3 to make it 10 again.
Speaking of threes, Colbert been quiet lately.
Harris somehow got around everybody down through the
He's
trees.
hurt though, Jim.
And he ran into the bleachers, so it's 5-on-4 Britons. Ebling to Parker. Here comes Harris, though. He evens things up. Shot a little short. Harris is right there to get the rebound.
Yep, the player who just hurt his already injured hand, man. I feel for him.
Between his legs.
That's a carry.
Yeah, we're going to get a reach
on
the Brits, but you're right. He did carry that basketball. Yep. Coach Jody May asking that same question, but I think the official said he was grabbed before he scooped.
Yeah, there's
Nate Collins comes onto the floor.
No question that was a carry, but again, you're absolutely right that foul happens before the carry, so ball out of bounds for Adrian College.
Nolan Ansari checks back into the game for Adrian. Colbert has Fordham on him, and they're tightening the noose just a little bit as that ball gets knocked out of bounds by Fordham as Harris lost the handle there for a second.
Yeah, you just have to step out and play a little closer, a little more aggressive on defense. There's a lot of speed on both teams, and both teams have subbed enough that there should be fresh legs throughout.
All the way to the rim, but a little short for Kalanji, and then he steals the ball back. Ebling with a block.
That's actually a good call right there, Jim.
He had to kind of move sideways to draw the contact. If he'd have stayed still, I think Kalanji would have got around him. Now, what kind of shot would he have had once he got there? I don't know, but Ebling had to kind of lean just a little bit before he went down.
And
I agree, Jim.
Very wide left step right there before the release, but drew the contact and now goes to the line and knocks down the first one. Olivet leads Trine 52-43 early in the second. Hope leads Kalamazoo by 6, 53-47. Calvin all over Alma, 81-45. That also midway through the second. All the games are pretty much at the same time point, about early to midway through second half.
Kalanji makes both the free throws, and the lead's cut back down to 6. 12:28 to go in the ball game.
Give you the women's scores here momentarily.
Fordham makes the walk through, and then we've got a whistle. And I believe that'll go against Kalanji on the block. So a block on both ends. And that will be team foul number 6 on the Bulldogs. So Britons need one more to start shooting the bonus.
trying absolutely destroying Olivet 58-13 in the second. Hope also doing some damage, 61-27 against Kalamazoo. The Britons lead Adrian 45-33. Alma leads Calvin by 5, 37-32 in the third.
Wow, how Jalen Fordham got that through 3 sets of Bulldogs' hands and into that square. You know what they always say, you can get it to the square, it's going to go in. And he did exactly that. Set 10 now for Fordham on the night. Colbert with a contested 3 that comes up short. Nate Collins right there for the rebound. And a good job by Dylan Bennett to put a hand in his face. Collins sets up, a little too hard. Rebound comes off to the Bulldogs, and it's Harris.
Again, just not able to really pull away.
Harris somehow gets around Fordham, misses the shot. Ebling for the rebound.
They need a conversion here, Jim.
Collins between his legs.
Got to get this back up to 10. Mismatch underneath.
Collins for 3, no good. Ebling tips it back out to Fordham, and the Britons get a new 30-second clock.
That's all Caden Ebling's hustle right there. And again, he's a size mismatch on Jordan Harris.
Ebling, a junior.
Giving him kind of a 2-3 zone look.
As they
That's
go.
a lot of holding. You got to call that.
Nolan Ansara is the young fellow that was asking for the dance there down on the low block.
Yeah, up close and personal on that one. And again, it's, you know, the officials calling a good game, letting them play. But they've also not been afraid to blow the whistle on both ones, and the players get tangled up a little too much.
Wyatt Morris in. Kalanji goes to the bench. Well, nope. Hold on a minute now. We've got, okay, they're going to bring Ansara back out. For a moment there, we had 6 black jerseys on the floor.
Yeah, you're still not allowed to do that.
Ebling misses the first of the 1 and bonus, and the rebound is saved on that baseline by Wyatt Morris. So the Brits still own an 8-point lead here as we're heading towards the halfway point of the second half. Inside to Hurd, dribbles back out to Harris, shows it, has no shot, back over to Hurd. Cuts between the double team, no good. Rebound fought for, picked off by Arshwan Parker.
Man, it's just a lot of physical play going on under the basket.
Fordham with that big old rainbow. I'll tell you what, if this gym was about 1 foot smaller in height, that would have bounced off the ceiling. Harris lowers the shoulder and the right arm, the push off on against Collins. Harris looking to the sideline saying, what?
He's saying I got hit, but
that little,
again, it's the forearm, yeah.
Forearm and
the forearm.
And the push, you bet. Again, that's 18 fouls now on Adrian.
If he didn't stick the right arm so far out, I think it would have probably gone
the other way.
Defensive foul and a 2-shot foul, yep.
11-point contest right now for the Britons. Collins looking for some help. Parker comes to him.
They want to work it into Armstrong.
Fordham. Armstrong had the double team. Now it goes down to a single. Now it's a double again, so he kicks it back out. Bennett won't take the shot. 9 to go.
There you go.
Bennett does find Armstrong with just a one-on-one with a shorter Trayshawn Hurd, and Armstrong makes him pay.
Again, Hurd got caught in the switch right there, and they were just biding their time until they saw the mismatch.
3-point shot goes in, and I'll tell you, Kalanji basically, as you said, Jim, shoots that line drive triple. That's 6 for him tonight, and he's got 2 threes.
Goes in, though. It's all that matters.
50-40, 10-point game. Britons on top with the timeout here.
If you want to get some quick stats, I'll let folks know that the Albion College women's basketball team begins its final home stand of the season coming up this week. They have a 7:30 start on February 6th against Alma here in the Kresge Gymnasium. And as always, you can visit GoBrits.com for all of your winter sports information. And it does appear that both the men's and women's teams at least appear to be bound for the MIAA postseason tournament. We certainly wish Coach May and Coach Carden best of luck and much success the rest of this regular season.
Lady Brits halfway through the third quarter with a 52-39 lead over in Adrian tonight, so that's a good situation for them. for the men here. They're now at 43% from the floor, 20 of 47, 28% for Adrian tonight, 26% from distance, 6 for 23 for the Brits, 6 for 20, 30% for the Adrian Bulldogs. Bulldogs 83% from the free throw line at 10 for 12, 4 for 6 for the Britons from behind the stripe at 67%. Individual leaders, the Britons, Jalen Fordham with 13, Caden Ebling with 12, MJ Barnes with 10, James L. Davis with 8. On the other side, Sam Colbert with 17, Jeremy Kalanji with 13 for Adrian here tonight. Brits basketball. Parker will bring into the front court with a 10-point lead just about halfway through this second half. Armstrong with Kalanji on him. Parker as Colbert, and he throws it inside, but we have a 3-second call or an offensive foul.
Foul on Armstrong, yep.
Same elbow that we saw on the other end of the floor got Mr. Armstrong in trouble on the Britons end. That's 16 fouls now on the Britons.
Hurd was talking with the bench when the pass came in and was startled to see the ball racing towards him right there.
He likes to chat, doesn't he, huh?
Well, just making sure he gets the play, but the reaction was priceless.
Hurd with the double team. He'll spin, and the Britons are right there.
Armstrong with the help right there.
Colbert had Barnes on him, so he had to get rid of the basketball. 6 to shoot. Oh, man, I'm telling you what, Jeremy Kalanji has 16 points tonight.
He's good.
And he's got that ability to hit that three-pointer. Now a 7-point game. Just like the first time these two teams got together, it was a dogfight right to the end. Collins with a shot, no good. Colbert with the rebound.
Kalanji only a 32% three-point shooter on the season.
And he'll fire again. This time it's just a little too hard, and Armstrong lost the handle, but MJ Barnes is there to pick it up. Arshwan Parker brings it to the front court.
I like the determination by him, though.
Parker with 3-point shot, and boy, that did everything but go in. And the rebound comes off to the Bulldogs.
Good box out by the Bulldogs right there.
That would have made it 10. Shot didn't go. Harris with an open 3 look, and he made it. So just like that, Adrian's starting to find their distance from behind that arc, and it's a 4-point contest.
Bulldogs not going away.
They're still looking for that first conference win, and I'll tell you what, they'd love to be able to get that first one against the #2 team in the conference on their home spot. Oh, MJ Barnes probably got away with a reach in there. Harris with the basketball. Barnes you still got Kalanji down on the other end of the floor who gets up. I think he took one to the throat. He's got that screen on his face there, the mask. Harris lets fly from the corner, no good.
That was a tough shot, falling away.
Brits now need to slow things down to get an answer here. Get back in control of this ball game.
Be interested to see if Coach May brings Ebling out to work with Armstrong. That pairing worked pretty well in the first half.
Parker got between the double team, got all the way to the glass and lays it in, and that's exactly what the Brits need. They're up by 6 now.
They attacked the middle with the bigs earlier as we get a timeout by the Bulldogs. Now the guards are finding the paint comfortable area as well.
Spread things out just a little bit and use that speed to break the double team and get to the rim. 52-46, Britons on top. We're heading towards the conclusion of this one tonight, and you know, it was at the 2:52 mark at Adrian earlier in this year where the Britons actually trailed by a deuce and then tightened down the defense and went on to a 10-point win. And it's going to take that kind of defense, I think, tonight to get these Bulldogs to go home with an L.
Statistically speaking, you'd think the Britons were dominating this game as they're shooting 21 of 50 from the floor compared to 14 of 47 for Adrian. Adrian does have a few more makes from deep, but what's keeping them in the game is 10 of 12 shooting from the charity stripe, just 4 of 6 for the Britons. Turnovers, both teams taking decent care of the ball, 9-7. More turnovers for Adrian. Rebounds pretty even, 33 for the Brits, 32 for the Bulldogs. Defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds, all pretty even. 33, again, 33-32. it balances out on both sides. Both teams, really committing a lot of fouls. 14 for Adrian, 12 for the Britons. The points in the paint really is the killer so far, though. 24-8 advantage Britons.
And amazingly enough, Jim, 6 bench points for the Britons tonight. Nobody's come off the bench to score for the Bulldogs yet tonight, which is a very unusual statistic for any basketball game.
Well, they haven't been afraid to go deep on the bench for speed.
Nope, they're
just not getting any points.
Just not scoring. Colbert run off that three-point line. Harris with a long show, brings it in. Boy, lost the handle there for a minute, but he maintained control. Gets it underneath, and
good strip.
Arshwan Parker right there to take the basketball away. Knocked it out to Jalen Fordham. Fordham gives it over to James L. Davis, and Davis will bring it down and run some offense.
So hard to do that and not commit a wrist foul right there, so great job.
This is where James L. Davis becomes so important as that lob pass goes into Armstrong, and Armstrong takes his time, goes up and lays it in. That's 8 now for Quinton tonight.
High pointed the ball and never brought it back down. Caught it, kept it up above his shoulder, and he's easily laid in without a blocker.
Britons say we know where our strength is. It's right down underneath that bucket. That's 26 points now at the rim tonight for the Britons. Almost half. Armstrong takes that away from Hurd. I don't know where that one actually was going. They had a cutter coming behind 3 Britons. Really didn't have an open look. And Armstrong said, I'll take that from you. Thank you very much.
A little too soft a pass right there, and Armstrong just got the hands up.
Forden with the spin. The floater, no good. Armstrong couldn't control. Harris does just before he steps out of bounds. Nice breaks there by Harris. Down to the baseline, gets the double team.
Gets the long arm of Quinton Armstrong ready to knock that ball loose. Good recovery, though, and a big 3.
Man, he's hit 2 in a row right now, and that's 10 for him tonight. And it's back to a 5-point contest with 5 minutes to play in the game.
2-possession game with 5 to play.
Got to keep making shots right now. Keep that balloon going. Colbert tips it away. Now he's in on the run out, and he gets all the way to the rim for the lay-in. Nice job by Colbert on both ends. Tell you what, Coach Kyle Lindsay is fired up, and so is his basketball team. 3-point game.
Nothing to lose if you're the Bulldogs tonight. You're just looking for that first conference win, looking to play spoiler.
Colbert with 19 on the night. Fordham with the fall-away 3, no good. Armstrong with a tough rebound and the putback in between 4 Bulldogs.
That's just all guts and determination right there by Big 44.
Nice job by Quinton Armstrong. He was outmanned but not out-hustled at the rebound. And on that end, bounce pass goes to the low block. Shots no good by Keyshawn Wyatt Morris, and the rebound comes off the Brits. Davis going to push it to the free throw line, takes a step inside, then leaves the shot a little short.
Run some clock here, guys.
Tip came out to Parker, and Coach May says, hey, let's talk this thing over for just a minute. We're running a little bit out of control here.
Hot back up on the MIAA site, and I'll refresh, and I'll get you some scores here momentarily.
Ladies, let's see if we can figure out a little more on the Lady Bulldog, or the Lady Britons tonight. They're taking on the Lady Bulldogs with 1:46 left in the third quarter. The Lady Brits up by 16, 60-44. So one more quarter to play in a couple of minutes, but at this point in time, things going our way. Rain Hinton with 27 points tonight for the Lady Britons.
Pretty good ball player.
Yeah, pretty good ball player.
One of the best in the conference. 16 also the advantage at Olivet, as Olivet leads Trine midway through the second, 69-53. Hope is up 6 at Kalamazoo, 67-61. And Calvin about to go Chalupaville at Alma, 99-72 on the women's side. Trine almost tripling up Olivet, 67-23. Hope up 50 against Kalamazoo, 84-34. And Alma leads Calvin with 5 minutes to play in the fourth, 49-40.
Wow, what an interesting night here in basketball. Did you check the ladies? That was the men's, right? Women that don't really have an update here for you. Let me see if I can.
I just did them both.
Got those both, didn't you?
Yep.
Sorry, man, wasn't paying enough attention.
Men's first and then women's.
I was listening, kinda. How's that, huh?
There you go. You were hearing but not listening. Is that what they
Yeah,
said?
I think that's exactly right.
That's all right. I'm guilty of that a lot.
56-51. Britons with the basketball after the timeout.
Okay, sometimes.
See if they'll run a play here and get an easy bucket. Be good to go back up by 7 or more. Kick out goes to Fordham, but he has Colbert on him. Bounce pass gets kicked out of bounds by Adrian, and the Brits will save the basketball with 17.
Because it went off the knee, though, no reset to 20. Shot clock will stay at 17 with 3:49 to play in the contest.
Davis will inbounds underneath his own bucket, looking for somebody to get open. There he is. Arshawn Parker on the corner, and he makes it. Nice clutch three-point shot for Parker. And I'll tell you what, Davis almost didn't see him sitting over there. About ran out of time.
Yeah, couldn't believe there was a player that open.
Parker yelled at him. Davis saw him, sent it over that way, and Arshawn made it count.
He's trying to play 1-on-5 basketball right there. Nice pass.
Kalanji kicks it down inside to Wyatt Morris for the easy lay-in. For Morris, that's 6 now tonight. It's a 6-point game again.
And Adrian does not need to go to threes on every possession. They've hit their share tonight, but there's plenty of time.
Armstrong has this smaller player on him down in the low post, and he's got the basketball. And a nice recovery there by Jeremy Kalanji for the block.
Yep, never give up on a play.
Came out of nowhere. Harris picks it up, gives it to Kalanji. He shows it, then he drives.
Lost the handle.
Well, I'll tell you what. That is not his game, Jimmy. You know, we've seen him shoot that three-point shot, but a contested drive to the rim, he's not comfortable with.
Still no Ebling in the game, Jim.
Armstrong kicks it to the other side, tipped but out of bounds. I tell you, this Colbert kid has played a really good ball game tonight for Adrian. Young fella, really playing hard. Colbert's a sophomore.
Just a good ball club that's due, Jim.
Yeah, it's a young team, and as they go, they're going to be tough in the next couple of years. No doubt about that.
Nice pass.
Drive to Armstrong, who misses the bunny, and he's laying on the floor just absolutely
upset with himself.
Yep. But he's got to get up and play some defense.
Oh, and he will.
That was one that he'd like to have back. I think he was thinking about just jamming that one, and then he decided, no, I won't do that.
You can still see it on his face, too, still shaking his head.
Hit the back of the iron and came back out on him, and the jump shot for Harris makes him pay. That's a 4-point game now. It's a 4-point swing, too.
Well said.
Under 2 to play. Thought this was going to be a blowout. Nope, not tonight.
Most of the noise in the gym right now is coming from Adrian's bench.
Fordham lobs into Armstrong, and he has it tapped away, and it's Colbert with the basketball to Harris.
Got to cut him off here.
3-point jumper short, but he gets the rebound back to Colbert from deep, straight on, no good. Rebound to James L. Davis. Whoa,
they dodged a bullet there, Mr. Funderburg.
Woo. 2 really good looks.
Timeout.
And the Brits will take a timeout and talk about it. I think they both need some oxygen a little bit there. Watching that thing, I was waiting for either one of those to go down.
They're both good looks, just couldn't get the shots to drop.
Whoa, 59-55. Britain's on top.
Yep, just too close for comfort right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. Way too close for comfort. Now the Britons need a bucket right now.
Need one just like this replay here. Wide open corner 3.
Minute and 24 to play in the ball game.
Best shot? You thinking 2? You thinking?
Yeah, best shot. I think any bucket right at this point in time would just be fine. That makes it a 2 3-point shots to tie you. And not even a 2-possession game, really. 2 threes. And not that Adrian hasn't had the ability to make those shots tonight. But I think you draw up some sort of play to get just a nice, easy shot. Maybe go back down inside again. Maybe let Quentin Armstrong or you bring Caden Ebling back in the game.
Haven't seen him for quite a while.
He's been out for a while.
Colbert leads the Bulldogs with 19 points, 16 for Kalanji, Jordan Harris with 12, Wyatt Morris with 6, and Trayshawn Hurd with 2. For the Britons, Fordham leads with 13, Ebling with 12 and 11 rebounds, so a nice double-double. 10 points and 11 boards for Armstrong, 10 for MJ Barnes, 8 for Davis, and 6 for Parker. So both teams have finally gotten beyond 4 players scoring, but again, this game is still anybody's ball game with 1:24 to play.
Caden Ebling back in the basketball game after the timeout as Quentin Armstrong will set down. Jalen Ford will inbounds to Arshawn Parker, and they have 20 on the shot clock. Britain's going to now run a little clock and then run a play.
And Ebling wide open.
Colbert takes it away.
Lost the handle.
Man, they had Ebling sitting all by himself underneath. They just couldn't get him the ball.
Nice
spin move down the lane.
Kick.
Nice little pass to a wide open Keyshawn Wyatt Morris. And we have a 2-point game with 55 seconds left to go.
You have a group of Adrian College Bulldogs who believe, Jim.
Yes, they do.
Brits need an answer here.
Need a bucket right now. 15 to shoot. Back outside to James L. Davis. Between his legs, he's got Harris on him with 10. Drives off the glass and in. Yeah, you wonder why James L. Davis is so important to have on the floor at this time of the game. What a clutch shot that one was.
Let's see if the Bulldogs can answer with under 30.
26 seconds. They've got about a 3-point spread on that game clock and the shot clock. And the shot is wide and out of bounds. And it will be Adrian's basketball. They're going to say James L. Davis touched the ball. And I think they're right. You know what? James L. trying to sell it down there, but I think it might have touched him. Initially, yep, I think he knows it too. And I don't think they got the call wrong. I believe accidentally he got a fingertip on that ball down there and just wasn't able to corral it. Quentin Armstrong going to check in for the Britons. 12 seconds on the shot clock. 19 seconds on the game clock. Britons up by 4.
Again, because that was a miss and not a change of possession. The shot clock, part of the delay is figuring out where to set it, and they set it at 12. So 7-second difference with a 2-possession game.
Britons go a little taller, and they put Quentin Armstrong on the inbounds pass. Ball comes out to Harris, swings to the left.
A lot of time, Jim.
Jump shot's going to be short, and Ebling's going to be right there to pick it off.
That's a tough possession for the Bulldogs right there. They played very heady ball in the second half, but that was a bad possession right there.
Started actually with the switch of Quentin Armstrong going in and guarding the inbounds pass, and from there it all went downhill because Jeremy Kalanji didn't have a good shot and really didn't have a good place to go with the ball.
Ebling on the season a 77% free throw shooter. These will be a couple of big ones, even though it's a 2-possession game.
Only hit time to the line tonight. I think he missed the open end of the 1 and bonus tonight. So chance to make up for that one here. First one catches nothing but net. And with that, the Brits go up by 5 with 7 seconds to go. And I think it's about time to exhale, Jim. It has been one of those nights.
I'll exhale when the game's over and they're shaking hands.
And he gets both of them. So Ebling 2 for 3 on the night as Dylan Bennett checks in for Ebling. And those might have been the 2 biggest free throws now of the night as the Britons with a 6-point lead. Going to play a little token defense, but just
I'd
really
step up on the inbounds here because teams like to roll that ball all the way to midcourt. They're not going to get to do that here.
Davis comes into the front court. Harris drives it into the front court.
Wasting too much time.
Takes the long 3, That's good, and that'll do it. The putback was good, but it was too late, and the Britons escaped tonight with a 6-point lead, and I'll tell you what, that's the 17th loss in a row for the Adrian Bulldogs.
It doesn't look like a team that's lost 17 in a row, though, Jim. That's a hard-working group of young men right there.
That really is, and they're played a
young team for Coach Kyle Lindsay. But you know they're due. They're playing hard.
Yes, they are. That was a big ball game tonight for the Britons to be able to pull that out here tonight for the win over a team that really, Jimmy, at about the minute-and-a-half mark, I thought they had enough confidence to pull the upset tonight. They looked like a team that had some destiny in front of them there for a minute.
And those 2 threes that they didn't get to drop with about about a minute and a half to play, something like that.
Yep.
That was pretty much the game changer. And then that last possession, or a couple possessions ago, where they just took too much time, didn't get a good look. And then the last possession again, just 2 possessions in a row at key stretches where you needed to have more urgency. And again, I think that's the lesson that a young team will learn. they'll learn, better communication, play with a little more urgency, get that shot up and give your team a chance either to, get a rebound and a putback. Point is, though, you got to get points in a hurry when you're down 2-3 possessions like that. You can't spend 7-8 seconds down the stretch, working a curl.
They will figure that out, I'm sure, over the course of the next year or so and be a very much a player in this league come next year, I would think. And, in fact, they may have an opportunity to do some harm before the year is over. They'll play Hope next and then Olivet. In fact, it's just the opposite of what the Britons have. The Britons are on the road 3 out of the last 4 games, and Adrian's home 3 out of the last 4 games. They have Hope coming in this weekend or on Wednesday, Olivet coming in on Saturday, then they go to Alma next Wednesday and finish with Kalamazoo. For the Britons, they will go to Kalamazoo, and then they will go to Trine, and then they will go to Calvin, and they'll be home to finish everything up with Hope. And you can hang on to that one, Jim, as we take a look at the final stats tonight. The Britons hang on to win 63-57 tonight. Shot 42% from the floor, Jimmy, 25 of 59 compared to Adrian's 19 of 59, just 32%. Adrian was 9 of 30 from behind the arc for a 30% completion rate here today. Britons with 7 of 26, so they only made 27% of their three-point shots tonight. Brits were 6 or 8 from the free throw line compared to 10 of 12 for the Bulldogs. Britons had 10 turnovers, Adrian with 11 turnovers. Britain scored 17 points off of those turnovers. Adrian scored 16 off of theirs. So as you can go down and see, this was a very close game. 39 rebounds for the Britons, 38 rebounds for the Bulldogs tonight. When you head down to blocks, 2 blocks for Adrian, 1 block for the Britons. Steals, 7 for Adrian, 6 for the Britons tonight. The bench points again, 10-0. The Britons outscored them 10-0, and that really was. That and the points in the paint. The Britons with 28 points in the paint compared to 14 points in the paint for the Bulldogs tonight. Fast break points 3-2. Britons win that one. But boy, those bench points and those paint points tonight were the reason that the Britons come off with the big win here this evening. Want to check some individual stats there for us, Jim?
Individual stats. The Bulldogs were led in scoring by Sam Colbert with 19 points, 16 points for Jeremy Kalanji. 12 points for Jordan Harris, 8 points for Keyshawn Wyatt Morris, and 2 points for Trayshawn Hurd. 9 rebounds to go along with those 8 points for Wyatt Morris. For the Britons, they were led in scoring by Caden Ebling, who had 14 points and 12 rebounds. 13 points for Jalen Fordham, who also had 5 rebounds and 5 assists, so he had an excellent game. 10 points apiece for Milton Barnes, James L. Davis, and also Quentin Armstrong, and 6 points for Arshawn Parker. So good balance in that second half. I like the way the Bulldogs started out that second half on the 8-0 run, but also like the way the Britons responded with their own 5-0 run to kind of settle things down. And you have to give the Adrian College Bulldogs a lot of credit. They definitely did not go away quietly tonight. They made life very difficult for the Britons, who really had to earn this hard-fought conference win.
They really did. Let's scoreboard watch for just a minute or two here, Jim, as we go out and take a look at some things. It is still a 12-point lead for Olivet over Trine tonight. That would be the big Monday night upside set if Olivet can hang on. 3:51 to play in the ball game. They're up 81-69 over Trine. Again, Trine a game ahead of the Britons, and they have a head-to-head meeting coming up here on Saturday at Trine to maybe decide who's going to be the #1 team in the conference and host the conference finals this year, because the #1 team is going to host the playoffs on a Friday-Saturday gig here the third week of February. And with 3:51 to go, we're all rooting for Olivet. Obviously, this is the one thing that always is mind-boggling to me, Jim. You've got a Britons team who had a rough time with Trine, which could have won that ball game here when James L. Davis was not available to us that night, and we saw how important he was down the stretch tonight. But we have beaten Olivet twice this year. Their place, our place, both close games, both wins. And now Olivet, after kind of a rough season, they lost over the weekend, which was a surprise loss for them. they refocused from Saturday to Monday, and they brought that fire into this Monday night game. And with 3:23 to go in the ball game, they're up by 11 points and have the opportunity maybe to pull the biggest upset here on this Monday night schedule that we have around the conference.
I'll give you some other men's scores. 81-80, Kalamazoo leads Hope late in the second. And also Calvin wins 112-74 at Alma on the men's side. On the women's side, Trine nearing the end of an 88-27 victory with under 30 seconds to play. Hope destroys Kalamazoo 93-34. Albion leads Adrian late in the fourth 67-58. And Alma has defeated Calvin on the road 62-51.
Well, it's going to be interesting. You know, obviously, as we said, we're getting down to just the last 4 games of the season. And we have a potential logjam on the top, and we're going to keep those live stats up and keep watching that men's contest tonight between Olivet and Trine, as we're down to around 3 minutes to go here in that ball game. And Coach Jody May will be coming up and chatting with us here in just a minute as the camera gets turned around so you can see our good-looking faces right now. We do have faces for radio, basically. How's that?
Especially me tonight. She can turn the camera around for Coach May.
Coach finding his way up here to the top levels with us as we still pay attention to that Trine ball game. It's a 12-point game now with 2:52 to play in the ball game, and a timeout called with the Trine Thunder trailing the Comets from Olivet by 12 right now. Coach, we're just kind of paying attention to that one. I know you don't really care about that, so we'll just move you on down the road and not worry you with such details. How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
Are you breathing yet? That was a battle, buddy.
That was a battle, and it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. Coach Lindsay's teams play really hard, and they're really tough. They make things difficult, and we just knew it was going to be tough.
Yeah.
And I've talked to our guys a lot, recently. The more games that you win, and the higher in the standings that you get, the bigger target you have on your back.
Yes.
And you're going to get everybody's best shot, and so. We're not surprised. I think that we did a lot of really good things. I think people look at our points scored in 63. That's not very many for us this year. But we had some really, really good looks offensively. We shared the ball. Some shots just didn't go down.
Yeah.
And that happens. And down the stretch, the last 10 minutes of the game, I didn't think our defense was that bad. They just hit some tough shots.
They sure did.
And but that's what I'm talking about, that you get everybody's best shot. And, I thought we played well enough to win, but it's a credit to them. We knew what we were going to get, and it was a battle.
They gave you 40 good minutes tonight. They really did.
They did.
A Monday night game, okay? Yeah. Both teams seemed to start kind of slow, and when we looked around the conference, it looked like everybody got off to a bit of a slow start here on this Monday night. Got to be tough to kind of go on a Monday night, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't do you play Saturday, you don't do very much on Sunday, and it's unusual. You get in the habit of playing Wednesday, Saturday, and then you throw a Monday night in there, and it was different. And this game scheduled last Wednesday was supposed to have Greek night. Every Greek person was probably going to come to the game on Wednesday, but they had something else tonight. And but it's stuff like that. So we didn't have our crowd as much, and but our guys kind of found a way to win, and that's the bottom line.
You know what? I can remember the last time you and I talked, against the Trine game that we were here. Mm-hmm. And James L. Davis wasn't here. Mm-hmm. We came down to that last minute and a half or so, and we just couldn't find a way to control the ball and get the bucket we needed. Mm-hmm. Tonight, at about the 1 minute mark, James L. Davis makes a shot, and Jim and I both looked at each other and said, that's why you got to have the guy on the floor at that point in time, isn't it? Huh?
Yep. And he just has a knack of hitting some big shots. And he probably didn't shoot the ball great today.
No, not really.
But he's not afraid to take those shots, and he's got a lot of confidence. And I think, the coaches and players, both of us have a lot of confidence in him to make that shot. So it is nice having him back.
Yeah, it is nice having him back. You dominated the paint tonight, okay? What is it about that team that you knew you could go down and get those kind of points at the rim tonight?
Well, you know, they don't have a lot of size, and they switch a lot of screens. And, you know, so if you set them up with some screens, we know we probably have a mismatch inside because they really only have one big guy in there. And when they switch, it's, you know, he's probably not on them. And, you know, the trick is they're so aggressive and so physical inside. The trick is they help great from the wing, and, you know, like it's getting the pass in there. And once you have the pass in there, then it's a matter if they're going to finish or not. But, you know, it's kind of what they've been doing the last couple years, and you know, we knew we had a size advantage, and we tried to take advantage of it.
They made some threes, and I'll tell you what, they've got some young players that weren't afraid to take those shots tonight, don't they? Huh?
Yeah, they do. And, you know, I told Coach Lindsay before the game, you know, you take their last game out of the picture, they really are competitive with every team in the league. They just haven't found that one team where they can get over the hump and you know, make some plays down the stretch or get a big stop. But they really are, you know, they're going to my feeling is they're going to beat somebody this year before it's all said and done. You know, because you can tell they're kind of have bought in, and they're playing really hard still, and it's just a matter of time for them.
You call a timeout down around the 1 minute mark, and it really did look like they had the momentum, they had the fire, they were ready to play defense down here. You came down, called the timeout. What'd you tell the guys? What'd you set up in that huddle at that time? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I remember the ball screen played, and we swung it and had a wide open. Caden was wide open in the middle, and I think we ended up turning it over. It was the right play. We just didn't execute it.
Couldn't get it down there. He was all by himself.
And they played really good defense with it. I called timeout to say, hey, we've been in these situations before. You know, this is what we're going to run. We're going to execute. And then we got to win this with defense. And, you know, defense and rebounding and play defense without fouling. I just wanted to remind them and, you know, to settle down. Hey, you know, we're okay. And, you know, it didn't work offensively, but we got some stops down there.
Doesn't matter how many you win by, right?
That's right. That's right. Not at this point in the year. It does not.
Now, you've got a tough road out because not necessarily you do have to go to Trine, but you play 3 out of the last 4 on the road, and it's not easy playing anywhere in the MIAA at this time of year, is it?
It's never easy. And I know we go to Kalamazoo after that, you know, on Wednesday. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
You know, that we know. We played a really good second half against them last time we played. Made a lot of shots, but we're going to have to bring it. And they're, you know, they think they can beat anybody when they just, you know, went and played Olivet at Olivet last Saturday night and won.
Yeah.
And, you know, so they can beat anybody in our league. And it's just a matter of who's going to, you know, execute and play hard.
Well, when you were here playing those guys, that first half, they gave you everything that you wanted. We were here for that ball game. And then you were able to run away from them in the second half. But that's not a bad basketball team that you're going to go against.
No, it's not.
How do you keep from looking down the road for that Saturday ball game, no matter what happens with Trine tonight?
Yeah, this is kind of a it's a you know, we've got 6 seniors, and you know, we've got a group message on our phones, and Saturday evening our group message was going crazy because everybody was watching the Kalamazoo and Olivet game. They were commenting on it, and, you know, so like we don't have to do a lot of preparation to say, hey, anybody can beat anybody, because we have really good senior leadership. And now it's a matter of going to get it done. I don't know, you know, if we're going to do that, but, you know, I just think that these guys have carried us, you know, for a large part of the year and the season. And it may not show up in points or rebounds or whatever it is, but they're pretty good at getting our guys focused. And so I think they all understand, you know, who Kalamazoo is and what they can do.
Yeah, well, it was fun to watch. It was a nail-biter tonight, okay? We don't get to see until the Calvin game, so at that point in time, we'll be here for the final one when we hang that MIAA banner up in the gym. How's that, Coach? I'm going to be the optimist in that one. You be the coach. Me and Jimmy are going to root for you. How's that? That's all we're going to do.
Yep.
Great win tonight, man. Congratulations and good luck on the next 3 on the road.
Well, thank you. And as always, it's great to have you guys here. Appreciate it.
Always fun to be here, Coach. A big win tonight, and we're still watching that one. 57 seconds to go, and Trine's down by 8 here, Coach. So I know you don't care about that game, and it's no big deal on you who wins that or doesn't win that one. But but the bad guys are losing by 8 right now. How's that, huh? We'll root for it at least if nobody else does. Jim, I'll tell you what, I think this team this year, you said it, I think, at the pregame show, has done more than what we really expected, okay? They're playing better than I think what all the coaches in the conference thought they were going to play, and right now they're playing some pretty good basketball.
Yeah, they're playing inspired basketball. You know, there's an increase, I think, from this year compared to last year. There's an increase in speed. There's an increase in hustle, and I think that's a byproduct of some great coaching by Coach Jody May. You know, the young men have matured a year. I think they're hungrier this year than they've ever been before, and it's an awesome thing to watch. You see a team that really is capable and deserving of being a 1 seed. And, you know, perhaps after tonight with 45 seconds to play, Trine trailing by 8, it is possible that there will be at least a tie atop the conference. Now, there's still 3 games to play. Tonight's a Monday night contest, and then you go Wednesday, Saturday. So, you know, it's no rest for the weary at this point. But everybody's facing the same reality.
No doubt.
Everybody's playing a Wednesday, Saturday after playing a Monday tonight. So, you know, there's no advantage.
None
so
whatsoever.
It's game on at this point.
And the one thing that you have to like, whether you think you can get the job done or not, at least you've got the team that you need to beat in your sights, and you get to go play them. You got to play them at Trine over in Angola, but you get it one more shot to make a statement here still in the regular season.
You just want a chance.
That's all you want.
You want a chance, and if you have the opportunity head-to-head to knock them down, that's basically 2 games right there. You know, that's a plus for you, and knocking them back a game. So, you know, that's really a 2-game swing at that point, especially if you get to things like tiebreakers. So it's going to be a fascinating conclusion to the MIAA regular season. Certainly looks like the Britons have pretty much, you know, punched their ticket to the MIAA postseason. But, you know, we don't want to prematurely celebrate. We want to let the next 3 games play out, and I'm sure Coach May feels the same way.
No doubt about that. Well, the Brits get a hard-fought win tonight against Adrian, and that'll wrap it up for us here at the Kresge Gymnasium on the campus of Albion College. Big thank you tonight to Bobby Lee, the SID here, who always sets us up for success every time we come up to Michigan. To Matt Aaron, the athletic director here at the college. Great staff that always works with us here. Our camera crew and our production staff here tonight with Richard Productions. For Jim Bellamy, I'm Jim Funderburg. That'll do it for us tonight. We will talk to you Saturday back here at the Kresge when the Lady Brits will take on Trine here on the Britain Sports Network.